Welcome to Creative Movies Recapped. Today's recap is an adventure, sci-fi, and thriller film called The Day After Tomorrow. Kindly subscribe if you haven't. Watch out for spoilers ahead. The film starts with Jack Hall, an American paleoclimatologist, and his colleagues Frank and Jason drilling for ice core samples in the Larsen ice shelf for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration when the ice shelf suddenly splits away. At a UN conference in New Delhi, Jack discusses his research showing that climate change could cause an ice age, but US Vice President Raymond Becker dismisses his concerns. Professor Terry Rapson, an oceanographer of the Headland Centre in Scotland, befriends Jack over his views of an inevitable climate shift. Several buoys in the Atlantic Ocean show a severe ocean temperature drop, and Rapson concludes Jack's theories are correct. In Tokyo, heavy hailstorms start dropping rapidly, killing people and destroying properties. Jack drives his son Sam to the airport to board a plane to New York for a school exam contest. In space, the astronauts notice a change in the storm system where the clouds seem more enormous than usual. Sam is on a plane with his schoolmates when they experience major turbulence from the heavy clouds, which later ends. In New York, there's heavy traffic as people are moving up and down in their normal routines. Birds are seen fleeing from the northern side going southwards, while in the zoo, all animals make noises and are restless. Sam attends his school exam contest along with his friends Brian Parks and Laura Chapman, where they meet a new friend, JD. A massive tropical depression develops in the northern hemisphere. This splits into 3 gigantic tornadoes that destroy the city of Los Angeles. Thousands die as the news is being broadcasted to the whole world. The city is left devastated. Jack's, Rapson's teams, and NASA meteorologist Janet Tokata build a forecast model based on Jack's research. It is confirmed by Jack that the force of the storm is so strong and the effects are estimated to be so severe that the entire northern hemisphere would be in a new ice age once it ends. He tries to get Becker to consider evacuations in the northern states, but Becker again refuses. Canada, Scotland, and Siberia are also affected by hurricanes that siphon frozen air from the upper troposphere into their center, flash freezing anything caught in their eyes with temperatures below -150 degrees Fahrenheit. The weather worsens across the world, and 3 helicopters sent to rescue the British royal family from Balmoral Castle crash in Scotland, after their fuel lines and the crew all freeze. The North American superstorm creates a massive tsunami-like storm surge that quickly inundates Manhattan, forcing Sam's group to seek shelter at the New York Public Library, but not before Laura accidentally injures her leg. While she tries to free herself, she hears a Quebecois lady and her daughter trapped in a taxi, and she turned back to help them. When the tsunami is about to approach the library, the Quebecois girl forgets to take her purse from the cab, which contains her passports. Laura goes to retrieve it for her and is almost swept by the incoming tsunami, but is saved by Sam. Water floods everywhere across Manhattan and enters the lower floors of tall buildings. While cell phone communications are down, Sam is able to contact Jack and his mother Lucy, who is a physician, through a working payphone which is downstairs in a room that is almost submerged in water. Jack advises Sam to stay inside and burn whatever he can, to stay warm, as the storm will only get worse, and promises to rescue him. Rapson and his team perish in the European storm. In Manhattan, the tsunami water floods have already turned to snow. A group of people outside are seen heading southwards on the snow. People in the library decide to join the fleeing crowd with the lead of a policeman. Sam warns them that they will all freeze and die. He tries to stop them, but they ignore him apart from a few people including Brian, Laura, and JD, who find him making sense. Jack gets ready to go and save Sam. His friend Frank and Jason join him. The remaining group of people in the library decide to burn books in an old library chimney. They also collect snacks from a library vending machine to avoid starving. Lucy remains in a hospital caring for a bedridden child, where they are eventually rescued by the authorities. Upon Jack's suggestion, President Blake orders the southern states to be evacuated into Mexico, as the northern half is doomed to be hit by the superstorm, but are warned by the government to seek shelter and stay warm. The Mexicans close the border until Blake agrees to cancel all Central and Latin American debt to the USA. Jack, Jason, and Frank make their way up to Philadelphia, where their car crashes from a snow roadblock. They decide to walk. It is about 150 kilometers from Philadelphia to New York, but they have no other option apart from walking. Frank falls through the skylight of a mall that had become covered in snow and sacrifices himself by cutting his rope to prevent his friends from falling after him. Becker is informed that Blake's motorcade got caught in the superstorm and neither of them that are involved made it to Mexico. Laura later develops blood poisoning from her injury, where Sam, Brian, and JD scour a Russian cargo vessel that had drifted earlier into the city for penicillin drugs to save her life. A pack of escaped wolves from the zoo gets inside the cargo and starts chasing after them. JD's foot is bitten but they manage to lock the wolves in one room, escaping with the cargo's food supplies. Jason collapses on their way to New York from the cold but Jack drags him behind tied to a rope. The eye of the North American superstorm shortly passes over and completely freezes Manhattan. Sam, Brian and injured JD rush and lock themselves in the chimney room and add more books on the fire to prevent it from going off. Likewise, Jack and Jason take shelter in an abandoned restaurant. He turns on the gas cookers. Days later, the superstorms disappear and sunlight starts appearing. After finding many civilians including those who left the library frozen to death, Jack and Jason successfully reach the library. They search and find Sam's group asleep but alive. Jack and Sam embrace in joy as everyone smiles. Jack then sends a radio message to U.S. forces in Mexico and calls for rescue. In his first address as the new president from the U.S. Embassy in Mexico, Becker apologizes on the Weather Channel for his ignorance and admits his mistake, and sends helicopters to rescue survivors in the northern states. Jack and Sam's group are airlifted and are surprised to see many people who made it through the storm on building rooftops getting rescued too. On the International Space Station, astronauts are shocked to see Earth's transformed surface clear and now with ice sheets extending across the entire northern hemisphere. Hope you've enjoyed today's recap. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.